Hey, this is the C&D channel. I'm Chris, and this is MMA for you. I'm going to be doing my post-fight analysis for UFC 135. I'll talk a little bit about Bellator, maybe even some Strikeforce Challengers, maybe some Dream. But yeah, let's get started with UFC 135, and then I will just go from there. K of the night went to Josh Koscheck. Submission of the night went to Nate Diaz, and fight of the night went to Jones versus Rampage. Okay, Jon Jones beating Rampage by submission. I don't even remember the last time, or if ever, Rampage has been submitted. Jones made it look easy, man. I mean, that length of his, just Rampage just does not have the speed really to get inside. That's a problem. I'm gonna say this, and I love Rampage, but I think when Jones got his back, I think Rampage was mentally, I think he actually Jones broke him down. I really do. It's just that he didn't really seem to fight that choke very much. I mean, I think that he kind of broke down Jackson mentally. Hate to say it because I'm a huge Rampage guy. Rampage challenged Shogun, who's going to fight Dan Henderson next. I think that's a really good fight. Where they both are in their careers right now, it makes a lot of sense. Jackson versus Shogun makes a lot of sense. Jon Jones, I mean, man, this guy threw a plethora of kicks, man. He threw those, like, a lot of people aren't liking those like kicks to the knee area, thigh area, because it can seriously break a guy's knee. I've seen Anderson do those kicks. I've seen Machida do it. I've seen Vela. It's fighting. I don't know if they should outlaw that. Some people really think they should outlaw that kick. And Jones is just finding like a lot of head kicks. He'd use his range. He kind of puts his fingers in front of the guy's eyes, as Rampage alluded to in the post-fight, interview. And then Jones obviously gets Rashad Evans. One thing with Rampage is he couldn't get inside. And there's guys like Machida and Rashad whose games really are to start from the outside, use their speed to go inside and get back out. So it's a different stylistic matchup for Jones compared to Rampage. What Rampage tried to do. Rampage has some really good takedown defense. So I was actually surprised how much he was able to stuff a lot of Jones's takedowns. One thing is, I gotta wonder if Jones will stand with Rashad. For some reason, I have this feeling that Jones might go for more takedowns on Rashad than and actually get down, just based on the size, really. And that's the thing. Jones was just doing whatever he wanted, spinning back elbows. He started out with this blood sport thing going on where he is that like monkey guy, and then he shoots for the takedown. So, he does whatever the heck he wants, man. He might be like the one, that one champion that rules the division for a while, which I want to see. I don't like a division that's in flux. That's always like the champion is always changing after every title defense. I'm a fan of Jones too, so I know a lot of people don't like him right now. I'm not one of those guys. I'm a fan of his. I want to see him continue. He's a great fighter. He's definitely like the superstar for the UFC for like years to come. For the next like 10 years. I think the Rashad matchup is going to be very interesting. I think Rashad definitely provides a lot of challenges that Rampage just does not, especially with the speed. Jones is not that mobile. He uses his reach, a lot of times to really compensate for his lack of mobility. But Rashad is a pretty mobile guy. Some people say he has a really bad footwork at times, but what I mean by mobile is he just moves a lot. Similar to Machida, but Machida does it better. Josh Koscheck beat Matt Hughes by KO in the first round. Matt Hughes should probably retire. He got KO'd pretty bad by BJ Penn. He does not take getting hit. He reacts to getting hit in very funny ways now. It's one of those things where it's not good for his health. If you're getting KO'd back to back at that age, can't be a good thing. Josh Koscheck's had a really weird place though. He's lost to GSP twice now. It's like, does he want to go after another title? Just get big fights? He can get a lot of big fights. He can fight BJ Penn, Nick Diaz, Carlos Condit. He's not going to fight any of the AKA guys. Rory McDonald, maybe, if he gets a little bigger. Or bigger as in, like, gets some more wins and gets a bit more name for himself. That's what I meant. Koscheck's in a weird place. I can't, and I wouldn't want to see him fight GSP again because, quite frankly, I think he would lose. Pretty much the same way he's lost the other two times. So, it's really tough to say. Josh is in that Rich Franklin territory. Like, he lost to the champ twice. What does he do? He can move to middleweight. That'd be an interesting option for him. But otherwise, I don't really know. His window for getting a title is getting smaller. He's in his early 30s now. So, I'm a bit curious to see what he does now. Mark Hunt showed some grappling chops against Ben Rothwell, man. Me and my buddies were cheering like crazy. It's Mark Hunt. This was a guy that had such a bad grappling deficiency. This guy was getting submitted left and right. And to see him, it's cool because he beat a decent guy, So it's like, oh wow, Mark Hunt in 2011 beating like a decent heavyweight. That's amazing. With like grappling, not just striking, but grappling. It's like he was passing guard. He even passed a mount. I was like, Mark Hunt passing to mount in 2011. It boggled my mind, man. It was really cool to see that. Mark Hunt, he definitely represents a pride never die. He's going to be perennial mid-tier now. There's fun fights for him. Ben Rothwell, he's lost to Kane. Now he's lost to Mark Hunt. The UFC always needs heavyweights. So, he can definitely be used in some capacity. This guy can fight the loser of Congo versus Mitrione, or if Rothwell wants to fight Rob Broughton, that works. If Travis Browne wants to fight Mark Hunt, that works. I think he should move up. Ben Rothwell wants to fight Brendan Shaw, that works. Mark Hunt, you can't really, he's not going to be a title challenger. I think he'd be a good, test for guys now. That's probably how I'd use him, like a gatekeeper role, to be perfectly honest. I love the guy, man. He's so cool. It's awesome. Grueling fight, too, man. They were going at pretty frenetic pace in the first round. A lot of grappling. They were just dead tired, man. They were just, but they were still going, man. It was pretty, there's something about that fight that was, sloppy, but, fun to watch. One, because it's Mark Hunt, but the other thing is, it's one of those sloppy heavyweight fights, in a way too. Another heavyweight, who won is Travis Browne. He is more and more looking like a prospect. Joe Rogan was kind of ragging on him for not having a more spectacular finish here, but what do? He needs to win. That's first and foremost for some people. He has a lot of time to build himself up. You know what I mean? He's not always going to have a James McSweeney finish or a Stephen Struve finish. It's not going to happen. You can't, you can't just will it, I mean, it's just not going to happen. It's not like he wasn't trying or anything. It just, he's a heavyweight. One thing about Travis Browne, though, is he does have cardio issues. And I think that's just going to affect him later on in his career, It's very interesting. The guy has a lot of power. He does have some wrestling ability as well. I remember he was taking down Congo with some more Greco-Roman style takedowns. And over here he was going for more leg style takedowns on Broughton. So it's good to, honestly I think Browne should actually mix up his wrestling a little more. I think one thing that really tires him out too is he throws with everything. Like, he'll throw a hook and he just throws with everything, and by the time the first round's over, he's already tired. And I don't think it's just because he's having grueling fights or anything like that. I think it's because he's throwing everything into his strikes, not pacing himself correctly. I could be wrong here, but that's what it really seems like to me. And Nate Diaz beat Takanori Gomi by armbar. Diaz was showing, Rogan said that Diaz arrived. It's Gomi in 2011. You know what I mean? He's like pretty much like a lower tier lightweight at this point. Like, honestly, I can't even say he's a mid-tier guy. The thing is, it's kind of like the same Nate Diaz that I've seen. He usually throws those type of strikes. Peppers guys. Then when he notices the guy's tired, it's very Diaz style. Then he starts throwing a little more power. And then his ground game is stellar. It's a very Diaz way of fighting. One thing with the Diaz brothers, they're always going to face problems with wrestlers. That's just the way it is. They're not the most mobile guys, so that really helps them get taken down pretty easily. He's a good fighter. There's good fights for him. This is a good comeback fight for him at 155. I don't really think he's arrived by any sense. I think it's the same Nate Diaz, to be perfectly honest with you. But there's good fights. I think he can fight the Cerrones, the Dennis Sievers, the Jeremy Stevens. I mean, there's the Sam Stouts. There's a million lightweights he can fight in the UFC. He can. He's definitely in there. He doesn't need to fight like the lower guys or anything like that. He can fight, decent enough guys. On the spike, Tony Ferguson also won his fight by Dr. Sauvage. It is pretty much what I expected from him. He has a good combination of striking and wrestling. So it's actually going to be pretty interesting to see how this guy evolves. He's still pretty young too. I'm never going to be big on the guy because of the thing in the Ultimate Fighter, but he's a good fighter. He really is a good fighter. He's pretty well rounded. He's gonna be a tough test for anyone. He's definitely got. He's not just like wrestle boxer, because he actually like moves his head really well, and he does box pretty well. That's the thing. It's not like that rudimentary or anything like that. I do like, once again, that he moves his head a lot, and he knows how to throw, technically proficient strikes. That's the thing. It's tough to say where you really put the guy. Is he a guy you want to be careful with? Obviously, Aaron Riley he's always the guy of like, if you can't beat Aaron Riley, you don't deserve to fight in the UFC. That's Aaron Riley's, like, he's a gatekeeper in that sense. There's so many like lightweights he can fight. If you want to even give him like another wrestler, like a Volkman or something that's been like in the prelims forever, but getting this win streak, that could work. If you want to kind of give him more middle of the pack, the Stevens, Lozon, Stouts, Cerrones, Severs, well, those guys are actually kind of out there now. You can definitely give him someone like that too, or else you can build him up slowly as well. That works as well. Tim Boesch beat Nick Ring by unanimous decision. I think the one thing that this fight kind of shows me is if Boesch isn't the hammer, if he can stuff his takedowns, he's a guy that you can really beat on the feet too. It's not like he has a lot of power, and a lot of his success is predicated on the fact that he's a powerful guy. He's a wrestler too, with heavy hands. He gave Nick Ring his first loss. I can see him getting far in middleweight. It's a good move for him, for sure. It was a good move for him. But, and I could see him breaking into the top 10 potentially. You can give him someone like a Court McGee. That'd be pretty interesting. If you want to go kind of high up there, you can give him Alan Belcher, who's just coming off a win over McDonald. Maybe Ed Herman, Tim Boesch. There's good fights for him though. I think I'd like to see more from him. He's looking good in middleweight. I kind of get the impression that if he can stuff his takedowns, he's beatable on the feet, and I think people will end up, or his opponents could potentially win that way. I mean, it's easier said than done, of course. And the undercard, it's all lower tier guys. James DeHuna got a great KO over Ricardo Romero. I think Romero's on the outs. Colas Gavedo might be on the outs too. Just got TKO'd. James DeHuna's a lower tier guy. Mizugaki, he's always like win-loss. He can't seem to beat the very top guys, but he can beat like more of the mid guys. He's kind of stuck. Junior Sancho and Eddie Yagan didn't look very good in the UFC at all for their first fights. Those two look like guys that'll just be stuck kind of like in the lower tier of their division. They filled out the division, the 145 division, but otherwise, I can't really see him doing much. On to Bellator, Ed West, Marcus Galvo, Eduardo Dudu Dantas, and Alexis Vela won their fights. Thank you, Alexis Vela, for knocking out Joe Warren. That was brutal. It was kind of cool because, for me, the Vela versus Warren fight happened right before and during the walkouts for Rampage versus Jones. So right before the Rampage versus Jones fight, we saw Vela knock him out. It's so cool, man. That left was hurt. I mean, you can just hear it. And dude, the guy was just mummified. I mean, Warren was mummified. Said it before about Joe Warren. The guy has poor. I mean, his defense is terrible. I mean, more and more, just every one of his opponents are exposing it too. Whether it's like Pitbull. Marcus Galvao at times managed to tag him pretty good. Joe Soto, almost beat him. He's getting exposed there. He's a good fighter, but in his case, offense isn't the best defense. Dudu looked good too. I didn't get to see the undercard, but I read there was a bunch of knee KOs. It's pretty cool. Dudu got a knee on Hayes. Really cool in the second round. Good stuff there. Marcus Galvao shut down Chase Beebe. Good stuff there. Ed West actually had I thought the Nogueira versus West fight was pretty close, but a good one for him. The thing with West though, he's already lost to Makovsky. I don't see him beating anyone I don't see Ed West beating any one of these guys. Alexis Vela and Dantas look like the standouts to me. Galvo's good. I think Alexis Vela will be able to beat Galvo on defeat. And then I have a hard time seeing many people take down Vela as well. His boxing's pretty solid, and it's not just because he knocked it. He looks like he has pretty solid hands. Dudu's pretty well rounded as well, though, so he can definitely win it. If I were to say who's probably gonna take it, Vela is actually my number one pick. Dantas is a close second, then Galvo, then Ed West. And honestly, I think Galvo, Dantas, and Vela actually are all stylistically pretty tough challenges for Makovsky. Galvo was stuffing a lot of like Joe Warren's takedowns. Makovsky's really fast, but he's a really small guy for a bantamweight. So, I think he'd have a tough time against a lot of these guys, actually. But, we'll see. I'm curious to see who wins this. All these guys are really strong bantamweights, so. Yeah. And then, let's get to Strikeforce, I guess. It's a big MMA weekend, I could split the shows, but I don't really want to, so I'll just do, there's not much to say. I think Lorenz Larkin, I'll just go real quick. Lorenz Larkin should probably cut down to 185. I think the size factor will, size will play a factor in his against future opponents. But I'm hoping he's comfortable at 185. At 185, I do like his striking. He's very dynamic. He has some wrestling ability as well, offensive takedowns, and he does have. He showed some against Ross Bro some good takedown defense as well. Jason High. He kind of grinded. I think that guy's a UFC caliber, to be very honest. I mean, you see a lot of his type in the UFC in the welterweight division, grinding wrestlers. He has some pretty good hands too. He's a grinder. That's the only thing. And he did lose to Brenneman, but I think he should definitely get another chance there. Sean Jordan looked really good. Yeah. That's pretty much all I got to say about that. Dream, good stuff. Shinya Aoki did his thing. Kawajiri looked good at 145. I actually only missed one pick. I didn't pick Lion Takeshi to beat Kal Uno, but otherwise got everything else right. Imanari, you just got to watch out for the ground game. Ben Wallows, he's just he's going to have stout takedown defense. He does have heavy hands. He just has short reach. I liked what I saw from Marquez. His ground game looks really good. His hands, as Muay Thai, look pretty good as well. So their bantamweight tournament looks pretty good, actually. And, geez, I didn't write it down. Who was the last one? Imanari. Oh, Bibby. God, yeah, Bibby just decimated his opponent, Otsuka. As far as winner goes there, you have Ben Wallows, Bibby, Imanari, and Marcus. I forgot his last name. I'll just call him Marquez. Marcus or Marquez. Geez, it's tough to say. I'm a big fan of Bibby, to be honest. I'd probably go with him to win the bantamweight tournament. And Sakuraba probably should retire by now too. Titan had some stuff too. Jamie Varner lost, Brett Rogers lost. Isn't much to say there though. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this big MMA weekend and my post-fight analysis. If you have any comments, just leave them below. And that's it for MMA for you. Thank you very much.